Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Dad is in Control podcast. My name is Brian, and I'm the founder of Dad is in Control. Last evening, after I put the kids to bed, I was sitting at my computer doing a little bit of writing, trying to create a post for Facebook, and I stumbled across a photo. The photo was a picture of me standing in the project house kitchen, a project that I had recently got finished renovating, and the picture was of me in the kitchen of it. And thought to myself, holy shit, how did I get here? I mean, almost a year ago to the day, I was quitting my job. The last few days of my career was almost to this day last year. And this kind of sent me down a self-reflective rabbit hole of the past year. Now, I'm going to start in the realm of this project house because that's kind of when all of these feelings got magnified towards. When I started the project house, I thought about my challenges and things that I knew were going to be difficult for me. Two things always stand out for me. One, communication, and two, asking for help. These two qualities, these two traits, these two items are the biggest hiccups that I have as a character flaw. And I knew that if I wanted to make this project a success, I was going to have to work through these two specific issues. First and foremost, you don't know what you don't know. So it's always good to ask an expert for help. Always have someone that you can bounce an idea off or ask for an opinion or get moving. Secondly, communication. I mean, let's face it, you can't do a project of any scope, of any scale, if you can't talk, if you can't share when you're having problems, if you can't communicate, ask questions, make sure your perspective is on the same wavelength as the person that's supposed to be helping you or aiding you. So right then and there, I knew that these were going to be my biggest challenges. So as this project commenced, I started doing demolition work and I started considering what to do first and where to go first and what moves I was going to make. I realized that I was doing too much of this work myself. Now, let me rephrase that. I had some insights coming from my wife that you need to do this and you should be hiring this and you should be considering. And all of these things I turned the cold shoulder to. I said, let me do my thing, and I pushed her away. There is example number one of pushing the help away. No, I didn't ask for it, but another perspective was telling me, an educated perspective was telling me that you should try doing this. It'll quicken your timeline, it'll lessen your costs, blah, blah, blah. But I was too stubborn to hear it. Now, when I started this, I knew there was going to be some trials and tribulations. I knew there was going to be some blood, sweat, and tears. And my wife and I had kind of talked about this beforehand, because the last thing I need is this project to get in the way of my marriage, to create friction. So that's not going to happen. Well, anyway, as the project kept moving forward, I noticed she was right. I can't do this myself. This is going to take me twice as long to do, so I hired help. And I dictated and I pushed the work off to as many people as I could. That was lesson number 2. I really did have to delegate the work. I mean, let's face it, I can swing a sledgehammer just as good as the next guy, but having 4 guys in there swinging sledgehammers work a lot quicker and a lot better. The next lesson that I got was in the form of communicating with contractors. I hired a fantastic drywall guy, and I put it out there and let him know exactly what I wanted to do, exactly how I wanted it done. And he got back to me after the work was supposedly done, and he says, hey, I need more of this demolished. I can't work on this stuff because these XYZs are still here. And I said, crap. I didn't specify that to the guys that did the demolition work. Once again, lesson number 2, lesson number 3, I didn't communicate this well enough. So as I'm taking hold, I'm learning lessons from these experiences quickly, and I make sure that in the next communications with the people that I'm employing, I'm saying giving specifics. I need this all the way to here. I need this, and giving them 100% of everything on my mind, and making sure and asking clarifying questions that they know exactly what I'm thinking. They have the same mental picture. Anybody who's done a renovation project, anybody who has any experience with this knows that projects never ever go the way they're supposed to go. Whether it's installing the kitchen and not having enough trim, or not being able to do this or that, nothing is going to go smoothly. You have to be prepared to roll with the punches and not take it personally, because shit happens, right? So that was one of the main lessons that I learned. Be patient, be concise, measure twice, cut once, and always expect the unexpected. So let's smash the big pause button for a second, and let's take a look at this. Does this sound familiar to anybody? I'm not just talking about investment properties. I'm not just talking about real estate renovations. I'm talking about marriages. I'm talking about your own state of being. I'm talking about you. You see, these traits that I exposed in myself were extremely evident everywhere else in my life. So that's why it doesn't surprise me to say that I know that these traits, these shortcomings in my professional life, are also huge shortcomings in my personal life. In fact, I think it's true for most guys. If you take an objective look at yourself and you think that, shit, I don't really communicate that well professionally, guess what? You're not doing at home, or vice versa. So guys, we can make ourselves better at this. And here's an example. Over the past week, I've had the amazing opportunity to speak with a whole bunch of women from all walks of life. And one common theme comes true. One common theme reigns through in all of these conversations. First of all, it's my husband doesn't know how to communicate with me. Second of all, it's my husband is out of touch with himself. He doesn't know himself, and he's too afraid to ask for help. Why does this separation happen, guys? Why do we not ask for help? Why do we not ask our partner, our best friend, our spouse, the woman that we spent so many years courting and chasing after and then becoming close with? All of a sudden we're married and we're X number of years into our marriage, and it's okay just to shut ourselves down, to coast, right? Well, the second you start coasting, the second you stop trying to invest, the second you stop pushing yourself, what happens is the silence creeps back into yourself, and the silence overtakes, and then you start suppressing these feelings. And then the stories that are going on in your head about, I can't talk to my wife about this because she's going to say that, when you haven't even talked to her. These things that you start to believe and you start to allow to control your thoughts really affect your marriage. They really affect the way that you live. So what I'm urging you guys to do is take an objective look at your weaknesses. If you cannot answer a couple of key questions, what are you passionate about? What are you doing to better yourself? Do you know who you are? Do you know what you want to be? Where you want to go? If you can't answer questions like this, if you're hollow, if you're numb, if you're too scared to ask for help, if you're too afraid to ask for help, if you're in a place in your life where that you are drowning or you're feeling lonely, ask your wife for help. Ask your partner for help. Reach out. Communicate these needs. Because being the strong and silent type, suffering in silence, if you will, is not going to fix your problem. You cannot fix this on your own. Communication is a skill in life that is developed. You don't have it. You have to develop it. It's something that you can learn. Especially if you didn't learn it as a kid, you can learn it as an adult. But think of it this way. Think of your children. What are your children seeing? Right now, your daughters, your sons, your families, your children are watching you try to go through life. And if they don't see you communicating, if they don't hear you talking to your wife, if they don't hear you asking for help, what are they going to do? How are they going to learn? These systems, these skills are developed over a long period of time, and it's important that you share them. It's important that you teach and you try to evolve them so that your kids can learn them, so that you can become better, so your family can become better. Don't be afraid to ask for help, guys. One of the most valuable lessons that I've learned over the past few years is don't ever be afraid to ask for help. And that's it. That's my message for today. So, if this is a conversation that you want to continue having, please head on over to the Facebook group. You can join easily enough. Head on over to dadisincontrol.com and click the button to join the free Facebook group. Also, guys, if these conversations that we just had, if the conversation about being scared, being numb, not knowing who you are, not knowing how to communicate, not feeling your emotions, not knowing where to start, if this describes you, I can help. To have a conversation with me, simply head on over to dadisincontrol.com/start and fill out the application. And you can learn from a conversation on the phone with me how it is that I can help you and cater to you 100% so that you can become a better version of yourself, so you can level up in your marriage, level up your relationship with your kids, level up your relationship with yourself, because you're worth it. Anyway, guys, that's it for today. So until next time, we'll see you on the inside of the group.